You know, they think that I just come in there and look for knockoffs, and that's not the case. You know, I'm actually a sharp, smart fighter.
So, well, I'm here. Who wants to fight me?
I really don't care who's in front of me. I don't feel like no fighter can beat me.
Our goal is to demolish everybody, to be honest. Everybody that's in my way. The pinnacle to any weight division is to have all of the belts, all of the titles.
Welcome to Bodywork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. It feels so good to be back. How y'all doing out there? Hope everybody been having a good week, man. It's Juneteenth, man. It's Juneteenth. It's Juneteenth, man, and I guess we still got a problem with this whole being on code, off code thing. That's why I say, man, I just missed that shit. But let's get down to business, man. Salute to everybody in the building. Cookie Monster, Pop, Cokie in the building, man. I appreciate y'all. Salute to AC and the 300, man. I appreciate the 300, man. We kind of move different, man. You know, today we're gonna be talking about Brian Norman, man. You know, I can say at the very least, Atlanta got a star. At the very least, Georgia got a star. At the very least, the welterweight division just might have a star. Right. Some people were late to the party on Brian Norman. I went through my whole thing with Brian Norman when I came down to evaluating, because my first representation of him, much like it was similar to how the Charlos was, being caught up on channels, listening to everything that they say about him, having my thoughts and ideas shaped about the individuals, until I went and did my homework and found out for myself. That's kind of what happened with Brian Norman, man. His reputation preceded him. Before I really knew who he was, I heard about the sparring. I seen the clips of the I seen some of the sparring clips back then. But the presence online and how people were talking about him. Cookie Monster, mic check, 1 2 1 2, sounding great. I appreciate that. You know I need that. That's important to me. But his reputation preceded him, and before I really before I think, was I doing content? I think I was doing content. But my affiliation or my water cooler talk, or just being in some of these chats and listening to some of these creators or creators, like Pop say, can kind of form your thoughts and ideas about a fighter. So I went through the process, and when I'm like, I seen the first performance, I'm like, meh. You know, and then, you know, heard some of the stuff, and then actually, instead of listening to people and their opinions of the father-son dynamic only, I actually listened to understand Senior. And I understood him. And the more and more, like, especially doing content, you realize that, man, like, this boxing game is a microcosm of life and how politics and all that stuff work. Just like if I was really doing what I used to do, which is football, since I played football, it's the same. I see it when people talk about LeBron and some of the stars now and how some of the new stars are coming out, but they can't get over their lust for Jordan or Kobe or whoever came before them to give the new people their fair shots. And people pick and choose the side they're going to be on. It's much just like politics, the red and the blue, you know, the Bloods and the Crips. You know, it's just the same old thing. And we just in boxing, talking boxing. So what I begin to realize is that people already have their picks. People have already formulated their ideas. I knew that today when I came out and I saw a lot of individuals doing content on these guys, they already knew what they were going to say regardless of the outcome. Now, had that young man went in there and dropped the ball, oh man, they was going to bend over and squat, kind of like how he did Santillan after he knocked him out, how he squatted all over. They was going to pull him down. They was gonna pull them britches down, like the old folks say. What shall I say? Seasoned citizens say. They was gonna pull them britches down and squat and take one of the fattest shits on this man that they could. But guess what? He didn't allow that to happen. He went over there and handled business. And it's so crazy because 2 weeks ago, we seen another debacle where a young man, he wasn't a road warrior. He had that special delivery. You know how when you order pizza, like he had that special delivery come over. And he shit the bed. And everybody came out and had their say. I know I had my say. I don't think I beat him up. I just did what I always do. I kind of, did it like an old head, like an old unk. Would have told him, like, hey, listen, young man, like that was not right. And as everything started unfolding, I was talking about that too, but something deep down in my intuition told me when I would normally do a video on fighters of that caliber, while I would normally do a video instead of a live, something told me don't do the video. I had seen signs and symptoms and all that. Something told me don't do it. I was calling it right down, and I've been calling it down the middle on that dude for months. Yeah, probably over a year now. I did the same thing with Shakur. When they started doing certain things, I started saying, nah, man, as a boxing fan, I love the skills. I'm going to keep it all the way inside the ring. And as it come outside the ring, I'm going to talk about it. Right? So, everybody was shitting on Keyshawn for a second. Some people still ran with it. Some people want to hold on to it or whatever. I say, listen, man, there needs to be something else that happens. Like another fight, we need to see some matchmaking. We need to see how the situation is. Probably an interview with Andre Ward. All those things need to happen for us to be able to judge whether or not a change in his heart or any remorse or any of that stuff has taken place. But I seen somebody out here whining about that a week later. But this dude, he has no right to be able to whine about shit, because all he shit on boxers all day, every day. 4 to 5 times a day in some instances. This dude do 6-hour lives just to shit on somebody. Like when Tank took the knee, oh my gosh. When Tank picked Lamont Roach, he would still, listen, if nothing else ever happened, they would still be talking about Tank taking the knee right now. And this dude, the last dude, should have been talking about Cole. He was the main one talking about, how long are we going to do this with Keyshawn? That's how some of these creators are. I already knew he was going to have his content lined up. I already knew this old head living in the basement. I already knew this nigga was going to have his content already loaded with what he was going to say. Why? Because it's something about the fact that we are all, to a certain extent, name whores. Big name whores. Like, it's, if you got a big name or you think that, okay, it's a faction you can be down or affiliated with, you're going to try to assimilate and step and sit side by side with these folks like they really give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. I learned that online, like doing content a long time ago. Especially when I started doing content for myself, that's when I really saw how messed up this boxing game is. You know what I did? I said, I'm gonna alleviate myself from it. I'm gonna pick a lane and I'm gonna do my thing in that lane. And that's what I've been doing ever since. And I hadn't had any problem. And I also told myself, Mike, you know your channel is not gonna get but so big because you do that. And then I answered myself, being the crazy individual that I am. I said, absolutely. I'm okay with that. That's why I always used to compare myself to the Lloyd Banks of this shit. Because just like Lloyd Banks, I could really walk away from this shit and be okay with this shit and still come back and do a freestyle every day with this shit. This is my lane, man. I'm gonna speak the truth. The channel, it's SIC, silence is consent. We speak to these things that we see. We talk about it. We don't care how rough it is. We don't care how hurtful it could be to you and your love for your favorite fighter or whatever the fuck it is. That's what we do over here. Why? Because we can sleep at night. We don't gotta wake up and worry about, oh man, whose side was I playing yesterday or what side of the fence I'm on today. We don't do that here. That means it says all it takes for evil to prevail is for grown men and women to remain silent. So we speak to things. That's the spirit behind my channel. I believe in the 80-20 rule. 80% of boxing is good. It's the 20% of the things and the people that have the control. Just like the little Wizard of Oz. It was one little motherfucker behind a curtain causing all the storms and the havoc. But it's a bunch of them on YouTube that do it. So I already knew. We knew. Nobody really, you don't know. Put it like this. I put a bet down. A $20 bet that he was going to get him up out of there in this third round. I would have won $500. Close to $500. He had him. And then like he kind of eased off. And in one breath I said, damn, it was only $20. In one breath I said, damn. But then I also looked at Brian Norman. I said, damn, this man's showing patience. This man he's showing new wrinkles. He's developing his craft each and every time he comes out. He's coming up with his one-liners. He's coming up with his one-liners. He's crispy. He's letting the little A-side, you know what I'm saying? He letting that A-side, that A-town, he letting that come out. And he's showing his flavor. He's quick with it. And I was proud of him. Devastating knockout. And we was concerned because whenever a boxer hits the ground, so in all respect to Jim, because he got knocked down a couple times in the first round, got back up, it was real feisty. I just thought that Jim's problem was, man, he ran up, he was too anxious. You know, that was my breakdown really. He would try to get some flurries. He got a couple little shots in there, but Brian Norman just looked like he had nerves of steel. He was very patient, which is very scary. You know what I'm saying? He was seeing the man coming in. It's like, if it's anything like how when I played football or when I was in actual physical fights, everything just slow down for you. So I could imagine shit was moving like 1/100th of a millisecond. Like everything slowed down for him. He looked crispy. You know, only thing I would say is it was times when, and I don't know if he did this, only thing I can really say is that there were times that he allowed Jen to get him on the ropes. And sometimes if you're dealing with a more experienced fighter, if you allow them to get on the ropes, they already know what to do in a better fashion. They know how to pick their shots. They know how to put that mental pressure on you and use the ropes to their advantage. And the fact that you can only move certain ways, they're more experienced in that way. Take that from Frank. I think that's a lesson that Frank learned. That's the only really thing I can say about Brian Norman is that them times when he allowed himself, and I don't know if he allowed himself. I don't know if that was part of the game plan. That was the only thing I could take away from a flawless performance. I wish you would have got him out of there in the third so I'd have got my 500. You know what I'm saying? I probably would have stayed home today. You know, but hey, I salute the young man. You know, I'm proud of him, man. I'm proud of his father. They walked it out. They said exact, man. They took care of business. They went over there. They got acclimated early. You know, and they had been talking about it, and even his father was doing interviews and staying active and engaged with the people over here. You can see interviews over there. Like I seen the interview. Shout out to True School Sports. I'm giving him his credit for actually doing the interview, doing a good interview, actually allowing them to be themselves without trying to put no messy shit in there. Something that we can't do nowadays. Just being themselves, and you can see Brian really coming into his own. You know what I'm saying? Am I saying he's a world beater? Maybe. Am I crowning him as the best ever top 5 dead or like? Nah, not yet. But he did send shockwaves through the boxing world. He put the welterweight division on notice, and he forced Boots to move up. Yeah, I said it. He forced Boots to move up. I'm gonna say it one more time. Brian Norman Jr. forced Boots to move up. That's coming from a guy that actually like Boots, support Boots, do videos about him. But we're not gonna sit here and act like the situation that just happened in all these chain of events. It's like lemony snickets, unfortunate events. We're not gonna sit up here and act like these chain of events that just happened should not lead you to render a judgment that there was some ducking going on. Will I point a finger at and say Boots duck? Nah. I'm not gonna say Boots duck. But in boxing, right? Just like you have a coach, you have a manager, you have a trainer, you have a promoter. And Eddie Hearn. That's really where I point the finger at. And this is where I think a lot of people are getting caught up in this whole situation when it comes down to this B. Norman and Boots shit. And we clarified it. I know me and AC, we was on this shit. We been on this shit. Last year we was on this shit. We came out and said it, and I stumbled across it just by looking at the rules and then looking up a timeline of something. And that was in that first negotiation. Once Karan put the paperwork in, it was a wrap. Eddie had the power in his hands to pay the extra money to get an extension, and he didn't do that on time. So to cover his ass, he goes and sends some felonious offer and starts some negotiations and make sure that shit get out in the public and have the fans going back and forth like a ping pong table. That was Eddie's doing. Now, there are a couple things. And Brian Norman, this is why I know people don't be listening, man. They be there for all the juicy, salacious, gossipy stuff because they don't listen to Brian Norman. Brian Norman was playing the game as far as going back and forth. But Brian Norman will actually tell you. At that time, he would actually tell you. He said, do I think Boots is scared? No, I don't. He said that. He said this was Eddie. This is what I've been trying to tell everybody. There's a tale of two Eddies. This was Eddie trying to cover his ass because he didn't put that extra bread down to get the extension. And I also said, let's remove Brian Norman and let's insert a Charles Conwell. They had already sent the felonious offer over to Charles Conwell. And I said, how the hell? He had 54. I thought you wanted to undispute. That was a head scratcher. I said, now listen, it's getting messy because you're slandering Brian Norman, you're slandering Charles Conwell, sending these offers knowing damn well you got to fight Karen. People still don't want to listen. Especially the old head in his basement. He still don't want to listen. And I hold people like that to a higher standard. Why? Because they have a lot of people watching and listening to them, man. It's crazy how somebody can get online and go live for like 3-4 hours, do all these different videos, but you won't take 5 minutes to sit down and qualify the information. Why? Because you need the super chats. You need the likes, the clicks, the views. I told y'all relevancy is the new drug. And just so I check myself sometimes, I won't do content for a week and a half, 3 days. I'll just let it go and when I come back, I'm just gonna get back to doing my thing, but I can let it go. These guys live off of that shit. They need that shit. This is not a channel that has to do that. This channel ain't built on getting no interviews and talking to nobody out, but I know more about these people than most people online. A lot of my time I spend driving, so I can listen to interviews, I can watch, I can stop and look up something, I can read an article. I got the time, and I take the time. Why? Because I actually like being right. I like having command of information that I know. Like, before I actually go, I'm one of them guys, measure 1,000 times, cut once. But everybody ain't able. But as late as yesterday, guess what happened? And shout out to Ness. I'm gonna give Ness a shout out. I got a kind of like a love-hate relationship with Ness. You know why? Because I love his work ethic. I love the interviews and the interaction and the whole game plan. What I don't like is the messy shit. But I'm starting to understand that that's what keeps the channel going. It keeps the ping pong effect. The way you say something, so people call in all outraged and pay money with it. I just can't do that. I just can't do that. But finally yesterday, Brian Norman did an interview where this interview was posted. I think the interview happened before that, but he posted the interview. And this was around this, and this goes back to a time. And this is all gonna make sense because right now we're stuck here before I actually go all the way in and we really start cooking. But we're stuck here because everybody is still stuck here. Everybody is still stuck here. There ain't no more Fahrenheit 147. Why? Because they were able to do this. I've been talking about this the whole time. Instead of us seeing 4 people that's all thriving and striving and young champions and they doing their thing and they got their own personality, instead of us seeing that, we gotta divide and conquer. So we would never get a completion of Fahrenheit 147 because they divided and conquered us, and we were not a one sound mind and body, and enough people let certain people off the hook. And had other people being echo chambers for this shit. But like I said, just yesterday, the interview happened like 2 or 3 days ago, but yesterday it was reposted and Brian Norman was actually on there with Ness. And he was going back and forth, and Ness is very good at what he do. And I understand wanting to have a good relationship with all these guys or whatever. It's just not gonna happen. Why? Because some of them just ain't gonna fuck with you. And some of them ain't gonna fuck with you unless you let them do the Bill Haney. They're not. Unless you just gonna let them get up there and you gonna cap and play goalkeeper and goalie for all the balls going in the holes. Unless you gonna do that, they're not gonna fuck with you. So a lot of people want to maintain a relationship with the people in Philly, which Bozy I love. Boots I'm a fan of. I love all things Philly. I told you I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. I used to be a 76ers fan. Loved AI when he was playing. When he left, I just didn't have a basketball team. I just love Philly. It's damn near right up the street. I'm in Baltimore. But they want to keep a relationship with Bozy and Boots, and they want to be in, because everybody see Boots going on to be and do all these big great things. Hell, I went to the fight, drove up to AC and went to the fight. But that don't mean that I'm not gonna sit up here and call it down the middle and not say what I see. Brian Norman was on there and he was telling him, he kept saying, Ness, listen. You don't like being wrong, brother. He said, but listen. He kept trying to say, call this person, call. He kept saying that, and he was like, man, that dude been ducking me for a long time. He don't want to come on the show, blah, blah, blah. He said, do you know Rachel Donaire? Everybody know Rachel Donaire. Wife of the great Nonito Donaire. Everybody knows that, knows him, knows her as well. She used to be real cool with them cats from Philly until they cut her mic for telling the truth. They cut her mic for telling the truth. I was telling this story to my lady. She was like, damn, like they cut her mic. I said, babe, they used to use her for leverage, use her name, just like the LDBC whenever they needed. Like that was their little trophy to let their little, wife of a boxer talk and give them all this clout. But when she started telling the truth, they cut her mic. And now the other little dude up there, he always, now he got to say that, oh, she keeps saying that I'm broke. I'm like, dude, you messy as hell, bro. You got a great lane in what you do. I love when you stay in your lane and you doing what you doing. But you messy as hell. So they cut her mic. They cut Rachel's mic. But guess what? Brian Norman told Ness to call Rachel. When Rachel got on, she said it once again. And so for these dumb dudes that be in their mama's or whoever's basement they in, they got these followers. These dudes are like vampires, man. They get new, they let new talent come around them. They usurp them of their talent. Any new young YouTube channel, they'll go watch, sit, listen to everything they say, take away their bullet points, then come out, do a late night show about them, and then do a show about it the next day. And ain't none of that shit they came up with. They parrots. Parrots. Nothing original about them. But since they got followers and they need to be ingratiated in relevancy of the new drug, they can't help themselves. They're addicted. They need help. Kind of like the kind of help that Charlie Murphy got when he kept sticking his feet in people's couch. Yeah, that kind of help. So they won't go around putting their feet in nobody else's couch. Ouch. Rachel got up there. She spoke the truth, and I got it, and hopefully, man, you know, all fair in love and war, I understand, but I'm going to say this is for copyright purposes, and this is to let everybody know, because I know the echo chambers, I know who's affiliated with who, and why they got to keep pushing the same agenda, because it's virtue signaling. You want to signal to everybody else that, oh, I'm down with it, and we a network. Well, guess what? This ain't no goddamn network over here. I'm not affiliated. So this is the copyright disclaimer, because I'm gonna break it down, and he do this too. So I mean, hey man, either it's gonna get more people like, and I'm a member, so I'm a paying member. I've been a member for I don't know how many, I don't know. It's been a minute now. They debit my account every month as a member. Copyright disclaimer: under Section 107 of Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching. This is teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair. We're just trying to tip the balance in favor of fair, because it seems like Brian Norman and them, they can't get a fair shake. They can't get a fair shake, man. And I'm going to speak to that in a second after I play this, but I got to play this. Just so that we can get this, we can stop this, man, because this needs to stop, man. Like this, it's like, it's so old. It's such a crazy talking point, but people are stuck and they won't take the 5 minutes. So since they won't take the 5 minutes, guess what? I'm gonna put a stake in the ground. A lot of people are over there at where Ness is at. They probably I'm thinking it went over their head, or they just gonna go right along because they don't really care about this. They just want to be able to like talk boxing, and they just gonna roll with whatever this is a comfortable topic at the time. So they're not really gonna dive into this. So I'm going to put a stake in the ground, and it's going to be here. You know what I'm saying? I'm citing fair use. It's going to be here so that you can actually hear it from the horse's mouth. Listen.
I'm saying, T.O. come off for a fight. Nah, fuck that. We only want unification. Unification about come available. Us. Nah, we moving up. When you move up, you don't want a belt. Y'all listen, y'all just finding it hard to believe in y'all mind and understanding y'all mind what's going on. I'm not. You just don't want to believe what the fuck I got Rachel. There you go. What up, Ray?
I got Rachel. The wife of Nonito Donaire. He got Rachel. Listen to Rachel. Listen to her mindset. She said, listen, I don't even get between. Hold on. I'm not going to steal her thunder. Let her say it.
There you go.
up? I heard you guys are, well, there was a question.
Yeah. Brian Norman Sr. over here talking about that you were cooperating witness in this ongoing Jerron Ennis versus Brian Norman Jr. fiasco. He says you spoke to the president of the IBF who told you that there was no way the fight could actually happen for unification.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's really simple, you know. If first of all, we have gone through this with Eddie Hearn before with Christian Araneta. He was supposed to be slated for. They were ordered to negotiate, and on the 29th day, then Eddie had put in for an exception and for a unification bout instead of facing the mandatory, who was Christian Araneta. So I know he knows how to do this work. When it came to Boots and Brian Norman, Boots was mandated end of July 30, let's call it. And within 2 weeks, according to the other side, what's his name's promoter, said that there was no communication at all.
In 2 weeks, there was no communication with Karan's team. That's who, Karan Chukagian. There was no communication in 2 weeks. So it was mandated. There was no communication within 2 weeks.
From Eddie Hearn's camp. So what they did is they pressed mandatory, that they wanted an immediate purse bid. Now the problem stands, I can't remember if it's number 11, if you look it up on the IBF rules. Once a
See, these people want to just sit around and talk to you all day. They want to sit there so they can get your super chats and your donations and make you laugh and make you giggle and, you know, do whatever, jiggle their balls or whatever. But there are rules to this shit. There are rules that they go by, even though it's still the Wild Wild West.
Date is set. It was set August 18th or 19th. The purse date was set. There's no exceptions to the rule. So,
it was set. There are no exceptions to the rule.
Anything that was given before, after that, is pretty much just written in water at that point.
Written in water. Not etched in stone. Written in water.
If Eddie wanted a unification and not do the mandatory, he needed to pay $20,000 non-refundable for an exception application.
Boom, he needed to pay 20 grand for an exception. Once Karan put it in, immediate purse bid, mandating that he was going to get his mandatory fight. Eddie had a choice. They abandoned him for 2 weeks. And then if he wanted an exception, he had to pay 20 grand. What's 20 grand? To a multi-millionaire billionaire with a billionaire company. What's 20 grand?
To the IBF before the purse date was set.
20,000 that you could lose that they might still say.
That's the gaslighting part. That ain't shit. 20,000, man, come on, man.
No two?
Correct. It's in
That's all you saying damn to. You ain't saying damn to how they was doing this bullshit. They was pulling some bullshit, making y'all look like that. You ain't saying damn to that.
Exactly. Paying attention to the wrong things for sensationalism. I understand. Go on, get your money, little duffel bag boy. But goddamn, man, like right is right and wrong is wrong, man. This was Eddie doing that shit.
Keep going what you've been doing.
I based it off of black and white. I based it off of what has happened to us in the past with numerous other fighters, and I know like they know how to move. But the game is, if he wanted to do the unification, his best bet was once he started to reach out to other fighters, he could have asked for an exception, but he had to pay that $20,000 before the purse bid was set. The date, once the date's out there and it's in the rules, it's done. There are no exceptions.
It's done. There are no exceptions. She has no reason to lie. And this is why she got her mic cut when she was over there on the Philly channel when they used to be BFFs. Salute to Rachel. She got integrity and character.
point. So I saw President Daryl Peoples in the WBO convention.
She saw President Daryl Peoples. She saw the president. These motherfuckers that's in their mama's basement, wife's basements, they don't talk to Daryl Peoples. She talked to Daryl Peoples at the convention. They ain't going to the convention.
In Puerto Rico, and I had asked him, I was like, so would Brian Norman have been able to fight Boots? He goes, no. He's like, that the application for exception wasn't in by the time he had sent out the first date.
Boom! At the convention, the president said no. The application for the extension was not in with the money.
You hate that shit.
And see, and that, look, listen to that. Hard pill to swallow, even though Ness knew. You know what I'm saying? He knew. But I understand what he do. I don't, you know, I understand what he does. I understand. I'm not knocking it. Go and get your money, little duffel bag boy. So I'm not knocking what he do. But for those who have ears to hear, let them hear. Because especially if you rock with me, or if you rock with me or stand this right now, is because you don't want to. You don't want to. These people don't want to. They want to keep you confused and use you like a tennis ball. But they can just smack you over the net and then backhand and smack you back over the net and shit. We want you to be responsible with the conversation so we can say and do things to actually help us get the fight. But if they can convince a whole audience, multiple audience throughout all these echo chambers to believe these lies, they'll have the people confused and they won't get one concerted voice saying, nah, man, that ain't right, and put the pressure where it need to be.
But your assessment of the situation is that the Normans was just capping, then they never really wanted to fight?
You mean Boots?
That's what you got out of that?
I'm asking.
That's what you got out of that.
He funny as hell. That's funny as hell. Hey, coach, you said he don't know how to be wrong, coach. You already said it.
So wait, what you're telling us, hold on, Rach, I think
this is my
it sounds like what you're telling us is that Norman knew they weren't going to be able to fight Boots.
No, we didn't. When you tell me that, Rachel? When did you tell me that, Rachel?
I didn't talk to Senior until I think end of like August 25 or 28. You'd have to check his text messages when I met.
So Norman and them didn't even know. They didn't even know. You know what's so crazy is you can go back in my videos when I actually did the video on this, and I knew about the rules in the articles. I didn't even know this was way before Rachel even got her mic cut off. This came out after the fact, but paying attention, following the bouncing ball all along, I knew this. And guess what? Senior didn't even know this as far as the rule. So when he was going back and forth, he didn't have no clue. He found out after the fact. That's why people want to keep pointing the finger at him. He found out after the fact.
When I called him. So he didn't know until about around that time that there was an issue and that all the people that were coming at him, I was like, this is uncalled for. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, I'm sorry, but a lot of the fighters are just pawns. There's so many times that we've been told from fighters and from managers, oh, we're fighting you. And at the end of the day, the promoter's pulling the strings and they know which ones that they're going to pull. And as much as,
that's what I be trying to tell y'all, man. Stop. Let's not get played as fans. That's why I put the stakes in the ground. So as fans, we won't get played. You got to watch these promoters. We got to support all of the boxers. Make your picks. Take your sides. But the promoters be playing us. We be looking dumb as hell as fans. Thank you, Rachel.
Both fighters wanted to fight each other. That doesn't mean that the promoter is going to okay it. And it is what it is. Unfortunate.
So what that means is Boots and Norman could have wanted to fight each other all they wanted. And guess what? Senior going to let the cat out the bag. He don't even shit on Boots about it. He say, listen, he didn't even think that Boots knew this. This was Eddie. This was Eddie playing the Normans, right? Not telling Boots what was going on. So Boots and them didn't know. So yeah, them and their team, they gonna come out all hard and strong like, nah, man, ducking what? Nah, we want that fight. Eddie. That's why I keep trying to tell you to tell the two Eddies. This was Eddie's doing. But since he's part of Boots' team and Boots signed up over there, we got to point the finger where it need to be pointed. Eddie started this.
Unless you own your entire career, there's, you're relying on them saying, yeah, we're trying to get this for you. But are you really? Are you putting your money where your mouth is? Well, in this situation, Eddie Hearn did not put the $20,000 non-refundable for an exception to.
Eddie did not put the $20,000 non-refundable for the exception for the extension because it was mandated. And y'all know the IBF don't play. They strip right away. Look what happened with William Scar. What happened to Jamel Charlo? The IBF don't play. They the ones with the 10-pound rehydration. It's funny how we can recognize that when it comes down to those kind of rules, but then we don't want to do a little extra digging. A little 15 minutes would have saved a whole lot of heartache online if the dude that was living in the basement doing content out of the basement would have told y'all this shit. But he don't care.
The rule.
So, do you think that Boots is ducking Brian Norman Jr.? Or avoiding whatever word you want to use? Because again, Senior believes, and I mean Norman Senior believes that Boots can still make the weight.
He said he can.
I mean that's between the fighters. Like that's not something I'm gonna get into because I think both fighters are exceptional. I think I respect all fighters. I just think that at the end of the day, no matter how much you want to fight someone, it's always going to come down to the person who owns your rights, and it's the promoter. So, that's something that they, have to talk about. And if he can make the weight or can't, I mean, he says he can, and he's moving up.
When you say it always comes down,
he said he can.
Just to be clear, because a lot of us are always confused, and we say, "Oh, well, the fighter is the boss. The promoter works for the fighter." But
no.
you just said it comes down to the promoter. So can the promoter actually make a decision without the fighter?
That's dependent on the verbiage that's within the contract, because I've seen two ways. I've seen both, and it's highly dependent if you actually negotiate it where it's a mutual. So let's say Nonito has X amount of fights that he has to have, and the promoter has to give him options, and he has to have it. I always have it in his contract that it's a mutually agreed upon opponent, not someone that they're just going to stick down his throat regardless if he doesn't want to fight him or not. But in the earliest stages of the career, was that in the language? 100% that was in there until I took it out. So it is, if you don't catch it, yeah, you're stuck, because you have to understand the promoter owns exclusive rights to your fights. So that's the first part. They own the telecast, they own the promotion for you to even be on stage, anything that you do. A lot of them, they own your name, likeness, voice, all of that freaking stuff. Okay, so that's one part. And then the second part is making sure that within the contract that you have a say when it comes to opponents, that it's not just going to be exclusive right of promoter to match you. It should be mutually agreed upon opponents.
So when fighters say, I just put whoever they put in front of me, I just fight whoever they put in front of me, that could be true or false. Like, yeah, whoever they put in front of them. Some of them have a choice. Some of their contracts say you ain't got no option. You're going to fight whoever we want. That's why fighters don't be motivated to fight certain ones, because they don't have no choice, because they didn't do the paperwork right. The contract ain't right. They might got what they call janky promoters.
Can I ask you how non-compete?
So that's it. That's it right there, man. Like, so for people that want to keep running around, with this dumb shit about how Brian Norman and them duck, that's just dumb shit. Now listen, you gotta listen to me real clear. This was not necessarily saying that Boots ducked Brian Norman Jr. This is saying that Quran put in paperwork. It was mandated. The president, Daryl Peoples, basically said that once that happened and the 2 weeks went by and it went to the purse bid and he didn't pay that 20K, a little measly 20K. When he didn't pay that to get the exception for the extension, it was a wrap. It was a wrap. So we got questions. Did Boots know that? We don't know. We don't know. Because, I mean, think about it. If you part of his team, right, and somebody sit down for an interview and they roll you one of these tough-ass questions, how you answer is going to make you look bad, and then your public perception is everything. So you're not going to just take a shit on yourself. You're going to try to have what they say, plausible deniability. So if Eddie didn't tell them, yes, Boots and them do have plausible deniability. Like you ride in the car, your partner don't tell you he got some shit. Like you didn't know. You honestly did not know. You have plausible deniability. Now if he tell you, hey man, I got this, you know what I'm saying, on me. Now you know what I'm saying, if they ask you or put you on a lie detector, that motherfucker gonna jump off the meat rack. We just can't put Boots in the team on the motherfucking lie detector. So he might have had plausible deniability. So the whole thing with this offer shit to Brian Norman the first time, it was done. Eddie knew what he was doing, and he used social media. He used YouTube. He's still using these echo chambers, echoing this dumb shit. So we can't move past the conversation in boxing. I'm moving past it. I'm moving past it because me, it's crazy how I knew, and I got videos, so I'm not lying. You can go back and look at my videos. I don't know Rachel. I know the rules. I know how to look up articles, times, date, and events, because I gotta qualify this shit, especially not having no insiders, not getting no interviews, all of that. I gotta do it the hard way to get this information. We done talked about this shit. Me and AC done talked about this shit over here. We done talked about it over there in the smoke session. We've been said it. So this ambiguity that people like to use is because they're virtual signaling, because they don't want to act like they're turning their back on Boots and all that. So even though I knew that, I still bought tickets and took my lady up there to his fight. So miss me with that dumb shit about being a hater. That's the same time when I ran into him, when I seen Richardson Hitchens. And I seen his true height. I know how big he is. That's the night when Zaquin Moses, Gilsoft, all of them guys fought. When he fought Stanionis, that night, that day. So that was after I knew all of this stuff. Still supported him. Because I said if it's in driving distance and we got the time, we got the resources, we're going to go to the fights. So this is not me being messy. Blame them niggas out there living in their motherfucking basements, doing content out their basements that's splattering y'all like sheep and throwing y'all, like Bob Arum said, like rocks, just throwing y'all wherever the fuck they want and keeping this shit going. So shall I continue? The first time it was a wrap. When it came back around, okay, so it comes out that Brian Norman and them, they wouldn't have been able to take the fight because Brian Norman Jr. had to have an operation on his hand. He had a hand injury. That even forced back the original Cuevas fight. So when the fight came back around, he was getting ready to fight Cuevas, right? They allowed Boots to go through his whole training camp. And nobody pressed him about a fight. And every time they did press him, they said, listen, I'm only focused on this fight. I'm just looking at this unification. Why? Rightfully so, because he was getting called the email champ and all this other shit. And obviously that was bothering him. He wanted to stamp his legacy by actually fighting a champion, another champion, and relieving another champion of his strap. So he had tunnel-like vision. They allowed him that grace. But right before that, when Brian Norman fought, they was asking him all about Boots and all this. He was like, listen, man, we got Cuevas. We want that fight. They was consistent in saying they want that fight. Fans and these haters kept bringing up the first situation, which we just clarified. We just clarified. They didn't give Brian Norman and them that grace. So Brian Norman said, the team Norman said, we're going to go in there and handle our business. And after that, we'll see what happened. So after that, they called out Boots. So guess what? The ball went back over the fence and it was back over there in Boots in them court. They let them have the grace to go in the fight with Demontis Giannis unencumbered. He even kept saying, I hate to sound like a broken record. I don't want to sound like a broken record. I hate to sound like a broken record. I don't want to sound like a broken record. So they didn't press him on it. He go through, no rehydration. He makes the weight. Because it was a unification, there was no rehydration on the IBF. That's why I always say I put the IBF guys on a higher echelon because they are held to that 10-pound rehydration. That's why I said you got to put more respect on Richardson Hitch's name. For the time that Sabril Matias had that belt, you got to put more respect on his name. When Liam Paro had it, got to put respect on his name. Gustavo Lemos in that fight with Richardson Hitchens, got to put more respect on their name because they dealing with the 10-pound rehydration. It just happened to be the first belt that Errol Spence got off of Kell Brook, IBF, rehydration. That's when I really first started really getting into that. Started putting more respect. I say, hey, man, these guys, man, that 10 pounds, because even Richardson Hitchens say, look, I don't want to balloon up to 165 or nothing. I'm used to being like 152, 153. Well, if you fight at 140, you can only go up to 150. And it throws back your whole timeline on when you can rehydrate and how you can feel and the things that you can normally do if you don't have to do all of that. Look great. Look great. Made Demontis Giannis not look so durable. I thought he was durable. I thought he can take a licking and keep ticking. We knew he got hit a lot, but we thought he was durable. Boots obliterates him, make the man quit on the stool. He conceded victory on the stool, in which my old head said, listen, they shouldn't allow him to do that for future purposes. They should allow him to come back out, and the first sign of where Boots would start tearing off of him, they should have just thrown in the towel. That would have looked way better optics. I couldn't help but agree with my old head. But he looked great. He was in his moment of glory. That's when he came out to that dude was there. With the Heliante, with the Helion. That's who walked him out that night. He looked great. After the fight, when the ball's back in his court, they asked him about Brian Norman. He said, I don't know why the hell you talking about him. He ain't that good. And pour water on the fight. Fahrenheit 147. Pour water all over the fire. Nobody said nothing. Nothing. They just went right back online talking, oh yeah, you see why Brian Norman and them ducked. Well, we just clarified the first time. The second time, he doused it with water. So when Brian Norman fought, and Jen Sasaki came up to him with the letter and all this and all that and started trying to get it popping and all this and all that, Eddie and them ain't do nothing or say nothing at that point in time to stop it or do nothing. Boots basically said, why the hell y'all talking about him? He ain't that good, and just left it like that. They wasn't pressing for no fight. They weren't. They was not pressing for no fight, man. So I guess the Normans and them was supposed to wait in the dark and not move forward and not do nothing. But everybody stuck on the numbers. That would have been your biggest payday. Yeah, in theory, it would have been your biggest payday. But now we know the move that Eddie made. Now how you think about it? How do you feel about it? Because in theory, yeah. In theory, I'm a billionaire. It just ain't manifest yet. In theory. You know, like fantasy, like when people be talking about fantasy fights, like Bud and Floyd and all these fantasy shit matchups and shit where they say definitively that this person would have definitively beat that, like fantasy theory. Yeah. Theory. It would have been. But they shitting on the Normans, man. So Norman said, you know what? We gonna move forward with this shit, man. We got a legacy too. And whether you fight us or not, we still got a legacy. We still gotta do our thing. We gonna go over here and, you know what I'm saying, have a shot at gin. Why not? We international. Let's go do it. Let's go stamp some international. Let's go warm up the globe. Let's go do a heat check out there. You know what I'm saying? Let's go have some sake and some sushi, you know what I'm saying? A shot of gin. And that's what they did, man. And the same musty ass people came out with the same dumbass talking points even after he stopped this man in devastating fashion. And guess what? The one little musty dude come out here talking about something. It looks suspicious. It looks suspicious. When the last time you seen Brian Norman hit somebody with one punch knockout? It looks suspicious. Like, come on, dog. Come on, dog. Come on, dog. Because I remember when Stephen Fortune, the one who I lost friends over that fight, when I said Fortune was gonna go over there and get his ass sparked, they said I was a hater. I said, no, you keep calling this Japanese dude a hype job, and he ain't no hype job. He's a little different. He's a little different. The acclamation and all that, then they start complaining about the gloves and all that stacking and all this. So they was always trying to hint that anyway was on some, and I don't like, you know, like without no proof or whatever, when you want to speculate, then when people speculate about your favorite fighter being part of a snack program, that's different though. But you can speculate about another fighter and all this, so I thought that was messy, but that's not even that bad. I understand the musty dude from Philly. I understand his ass doing it because he's just messy. But what I don't understand is this. This is what I don't understand. Let me see. We this is what I really don't understand. Let me see. It's gonna make sense, y'all, because these are points to where, see, some people gotta hear certain shit, and you gotta actually do this, because people, my word just ain't good enough.
Promises.
My word just ain't good enough, man. My word just ain't good enough. Even though this year I'm on fire, it's almost like I got a crystal ball over here, because I've been right. I've been calling in real time, expressing myself in real time based on my instincts, and I've been right. But I'm just a little channel, 1,300 members. That's all. You know what I'm saying? Little old me, little old 300. But listen to this. This is what's musty to me. Listen to this. Listen to this. And we gonna cook, AC. We gonna cook, man. Thanks for your patience. But we gotta put these stakes in the ground so that when people go back, that's why I believe in playback value. See, it's shit in my old videos that I was doing in real time, that if you go back, it has playback value. I'm not a hindsight is 2020 is. Only in some fights, then the outcomes, yeah, I can say hindsight. But not the behavior and the shit that's going on with the sport. Why? Because that's my lane. Silence is consent. So I gotta put this up, because I know this dude probably gonna come at me because I roasted his ass in the comment section, man. I don't understand. I was just saying, I guess he took my compliment. I said, man, when PD and TB are the voice of reason on YouTube, something must be wrong. And goddamn, hey, he fixed it. Because guess what? He back on that shit again. Listen to this.
Tim Desert Storm Bradley, Boxing Hall of Fame. Hey, y'all better stop. Y'all better stop. Hey, look, great performance today. I should say earlier today, Norman Jr. But yeah, y'all better stop, man. For real. No, y'all had more than an opportunity to face Boots Ennis. Y'all had more than an opportunity. I understand the play, but don't.
No, we just debunked that. We just debunked that. And Tim, with all the analytics, with him being able to find out whatever, and him being the top ranked man, him working for Top Rank. Y'all do realize Brian Norman signed with Top Rank, right? Okay. Just checking.
Don't go pointing fingers and saying somebody ducking now. Hell to the no. Because we can quickly say that you ducked him. Period. First. 1.7, whatever the number was, you ducked him, bro. Biggest paycheck to date, right? You probably got a big paycheck to go over to Japan, though. You went to Japan, but you wouldn't go to Philly? Come on, man.
Juice your noodle, mother. Juice your noodle. You saw what happened to Stephen Fulton over there. You saw what happened to Stephen Fulton. And you seen what happened to all of them dudes that went over there with, anyway, what happened. So you trying to tell me this dude will go over there where ain't no testing, they can stack gloves, it's already implied that they be cheating. The time zone different where you got to go over there at least 2 or 3 weeks early just to acclimatize. You trying to tell me he would do all of that, but he won't go to Philly. But he went all the way to California in Buddy's backyard and crumpled him, bloodied him up, took the booze all in front of, like, come on, man. Come on, Tim. Come on, Tim. I ain't think that head is just fat for no goddamn reason at all, man. I'm not sure what's up there, or maybe it was the Provatnikov. I'm not sure.
Y'all better stop with that. Y'all better stop with that, bro. Hey, the ball right now is in y'all court. I get it. Sensational knockout. Fantastic performance, man. Yeah, you did what you were supposed to do. I called Sasaki fight, and I said it on air. Norman Jr. gonna knock him out. That's easy work, and you did just that. Yeah, we was unsure if you can travel. Oh, there's no doubt. Traveling, going to a different country, yeah, it's hard. Yeah, different responsibilities, different understanding, you know, but you learned a lot about yourself, Norman Jr. Yes, you can travel, man.
So he can travel, but he wouldn't go to Philly, right? By your logic, right? You contradict yourself. You know you fucked up, right, Tim? You know you fucked up. Because you said, oh, you can't go to Philly, but then you turn around and you got the 40 and you said, oh, you could travel because there's different responsibilities, and yeah, you know you fucked up, right, Tim? You know you fucked up, huh?
True champion, that's for damn sure. Yeah, you behaved very well, bro. You made boxing, hey, you did boxing well, man. You made everybody proud today, man. Yeah, proud to be a freaking American.
He made, so listen to this. He made everybody proud to be an American. Because I'm proud to be an American. Now watch this.
Bro, proud to be bitter country, bro. Country, bro. Boy, you was strong as hell in there today, man. I'm not gonna lie, where Vada at? Golly, look.
Where, he said, where Vada at? This man said, where Vada at?
I ain't accusing, but I'm just saying these last 3 performances.
You ain't accusing, but you just asked where Vada at in the last 3 performances. Why are you on here caping for Boots and insinuating that the man is cheating and you work for Top Rank? This shit gotta be personal, so that's why I don't blame I don't blame Norman Sr. for wanting to dig in his ass like a gerbil. Cause this is not right, Tim. Why are you going out of your way? Why are you virtue signaling to some people over there in Philly? Like, I don't understand it. You're just an analyst and a Hall of Famer.
You've been putting on, bro. Damn, in any other sport, hey, they coming after you. If you in NFL, jumping over motherfuckers, doing the things you doing, this type of shit in the ring, but you doing it on the field, bro. Look, they testing you. Oh yeah, ain't going for a dump, and he getting tested the next morning, bro. You gotta get tested, bro.
That's all I could really listen to of that shit, bro. And the point of that is, man, like, listen, man, listen. We just seen Richardson Hitchens do what the fuck he needed to do with the IBF and defend his strap against Kambosos and stop that man doing Bodywork. We just seen Abdullah Mason step up to do the motherfucking headline show when Keyshawn fucked up and then got into the fight and do all of that, right? They took away from Abdullah Mason in favor of Keyshawn. They took away from Richardson Hitchens in favor of T.O. or Devin, or you pick your poison. Here it is, a musty-ass Hall of Famer with a fat-ass head who worked for ESPN is doing backhanded compliments, Indian giving compliments, talking about you made us proud to be an American, and then insinuate that the man is cheating. Insinuating that the man need to be tested. And taken away from Norman in favor of what? The fact that right before, like a couple weeks ago, like 3 weeks ago, Eddie came out and we're talking about, oh nah man, we sent them an offer, man, they don't want to take it, and this, and made sure he got out on YouTube to feed his echo chambers. I don't know how much he paying, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't saying I would take it, I just want to know how much he paying, just so I can know how much these motherfuckers is worth. That's all. I just want to know how much motherfuckers is selling out for. That's all. That's all. I just want to know how much it's worth when you get your marching orders, like when they give you your the little memorandum with your itinerary on it. How much is your marching orders, man? I just want to know how much y'all motherfuckers is worth. Cause when I blow, I might need your services, man. I might need y'all to be an echo chamber for me. I just want to know how much it costs. Not that I'm gonna take it. I just want to know how much it costs. Eddie got out there and fed the whole YouTube talking about they didn't take the offer. He like, hold on, man, we can't do no offer, man. We got a fight coming up in 3 weeks. This was 3 weeks ago. He said, listen, and they started up something. They had Brian Norman out there defending his son, defending his honor, defending his character, doing all that kind of stuff. And people saying, oh, he crashing out. And these boxing dads trying to lump them all together, which if you had any critical thinking skill, you would be able to separate them because the Normans are different than some of these other boxing fathers. He's different. I went over that in the Most Dangerous when I did the original Boxing's Most Dangerous Man when I did this on Brian Norman. All of that's in there. Much nutritional value, great playback. It has playback value in it and all that. He got out there to defend his son's honor and he said, listen, verbally, we can agree. He said, we just got finished business. We're not going to sign nothing, but trust me, listen, you got my verbal commitment that soon as this fight is over, you got my word. We can get it. You talking about doing it a little bit later this year? We can do that. We got more than enough time. We go. Let us handle our business the same way we let you handle your business when it came down to Stan Giannis. Do us that same thing. But you got my word. Eddie went on the campaign, and right after that, Eddie doubled down. He came out with some information and said, oh well, we've been talking to some sports scientists. And, you know, they figured out that he was only at 50% of his capacity when it came down. Man, Eddie became a mad scientist. You know the visuals when you see the motherfucker in the tube and he got the motherfucking mask on, it's hooked up to the tubes and they got all these monsters. I'm thinking they did some old sports scientist shit and they said, damn, Boots, he was only fighting Stan Giannis at a 50% capacity. You could have used the V8, bruv. I'm like, damn, so y'all know he was 50%. I was like, man, listen, man, the dude ain't have to rehydrate. You know what I'm saying? He an athlete. He a gym rat. We used to talk about it all the time. So I was stuck. I said, man, why is he coming out with this information? This is not good. As a fight fan, this is not good. This is looking like Fahrenheit 147 is about to cool off real goddamn quick, right? So I'm like, we just gotta see what happened, because I'm not one of them front running channels. I don't gotta get out here and front run and say that I know and I got sources, even though my sources be wrong as fuck. I be more right than motherfuckers with sources. Eureka! Crazy work. But I said, it's not looking good, man. Fahrenheit, I fear that we're not going to be able to see this fight because 147 was D block. It's no longer the Glamour division. I call it D block. You know what I'm saying? Well, you got to get it the hard way. But I think Brian Norman put the ammo back in the Glamour division up there at welterweight. That this is what it was. You know what I'm saying? So now we can alleviate Stan Giannis and Boots, and now it's just the two guys on the right and the possible Rolly. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's what we got right now. So to my surprise, it was real odd, and we did a show the other day. And I think it was this one. The division is yours. When I was saying, damn, man, Brian Norman might be on his Tony Montana, man. The division is yours, man. Because they're talking about Boots moving up to 154. And I was like, man, the fight is only a couple days away. Why the fuck are they talking about he already moved up? And why would he do that now? Why wouldn't he wait till the results? And I said, oh, man, they alleviating themselves of the responsibility, man. Because if that dude go over there and if he get over there and he do actually have that shot again in devastating fashion, you know what I'm saying? And he sparked my man. Like I bet on it, man. I just wish it was the third round. I'd have been $500. I might not even be live tonight. I might have took my baby out somewhere. For real. But that didn't happen. I was still proud of him because he showed patience, which was even better for him. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the next time, but at least you can make some money off the dude. It didn't seem right that Boots would choose that time to actually move up, even before the verdict was rendered. And after that, there's been all these reports and all these people doing interviews, basically saying, "Oh yeah, man, that dude Rob Acosta, oh yeah, he'll get Boots to get him out of there early." And yeah, they just using my name. Well, who's using whose name now? Who's using whose name now? Because if you moved up, and they already saying that it's a tellus. It's an article up there with Bakram and Virgil. It's a whole list. And then Ennis tellus pops up in there. And there's been little rumblings saying that, but I believe that that's already a done deal. Why? Because that shit would have looked real ugly if right after that fight, because he did say some cold shit. He said they knew B Norm, the storm is coming. And you know what you gotta do when the storm is coming. You gotta grab your boots and run. His father like, ooh, man, that's a classic moment, man. That's a classic moment, man. I know Norman Jr., boy, Norman Sr., he probably had goosebumps. Like, look at my boy. Look at my boy. Who wasn't supposed to be here. He wasn't supposed to be here. Look at what he doing now. Look at him now. They say those who are last shall become first, and the first shall become last. Yikes! That's what it looked like just happened, man. So I just found it odd that, yeah, man, I'm going to go ahead and classify and say that Team Boots, to include Eddie and his shenanigans and the following and the tutelage and the whole turkey bag and all that, Team Boots got forced out of the division by Brian Norman Jr. And that's where I'm going to land my plane right there at that fact right there. But I'm going to say this, and we're going to cook. I'm going to say this. If you notice, I talked about Richardson Hitchens, I talked about Abdullah Mason, and I talked about Brian Norman. Not only do these guys do it the right way, right? Not only do these guys do it the right way, and they have their own special things, like Richardson Hitchens never fighting somebody with an upside down record, Abdullah Mason being as poised and being wise beyond his years and so mature at that age in the development that he have, and then Brian Norman coming into his own, going through hand surgery and sparking motherfuckers with that same hand, becoming an international star, starting up the, like what Lil Baby say, we global. We global. You know what I'm saying? The A can stand up for this. They got a star. I'm not a star. Somebody lied. I got a in the car. Like, that's me. He's a star in the making. But notice that all these guys are doing the right way, and the public perception is to shit on them because we are some name whores. We name whores, man. We always talk about new blood, fresh blood, people doing the right way, make way for the out with the old, in with the new, and when the new come up and they show up and they show out, we shit on them. AC.
Yeah, bro.
I landed my plane with all of the talking points out up front, man, and I wasn't reading comments or nothing, man. I just had to get all of that off so that we have a stake in the ground in the first portion, so that if you make it through there, you at least know what I wanted to have on wax, and then we can get into whatever, man. But what's your thoughts, man? You can have the floor, the stage, you know.
I'm a I guess move backwards. I'm gonna start off with an interesting talking point, because you know how me and you get. We'll hear something and then it'll bring us to something else that's going on, and then it causes us to say, let me research that, or let me question that.
Mm-hmm.
You feel what I'm saying? So you just mentioned Brian Norman's hand. He had hand surgery, and he's knocking people out with the same hand he just had surgery with. I don't recall Brian Norman Jr. calling out anyone else who may have had hand injuries after he got his hand surgery, nor Wilder after he got his hand and arm surgery, that these guys called somebody out to still deal with swelling and things like that. You could see from Brian Norman's knuckle that, he went through something. He even shows the scar. He's like, look, here's the scar. To say what I'm saying, to bring it full circle, I guess you got an idea of where I'm going with this, because there's another certain young fighter who just said he had hand surgery, pretty much punched on a out of shape part-time boxer, aka an electrician. You feel what I'm saying? Dropped him a couple of times with some body shots. No one was questioning whether he was on PEDs and things like that. And there was also grimacing and other things like that after the hand surgery. So we were like, yo, as long as his hand is good, blah, blah, blah. Why don't you go to Brian Norman's Jr. hand surgeon and get it done one time? So it's done right, because evidently his hand surgeon and your hand surgeon are two different people. Now, outside of that, I'd like to say the one thing that one of my talking points that had concern for me with Brian Norman Jr. going over to Japan was the timing of when he would get over there to be acclimated. The one thing he said in an interview once he was over there that never crossed my mind was the fact that he didn't take a lot of damage in his last fight, so he was already in shape. And when he said that himself, that may have changed the dynamic. If you're looking at the body and being acclimated, if you already on, it's just getting past the jet lag. And he said within 2 days he was good.
Mm-hmm.
You feel what I'm saying? So you just had a kid who's in shape, ready to rock and roll, did his thing in his last fight, didn't take any damage that would cause him to take time off or anything like that, and then he just basically flies to Japan. When you look at it in that dynamic, all these little nuances with things of why he was so confident, why he was so poised, why and just believing in himself on top of that. Big J from B&B hit me up earlier, and he asked me, I guess to try to troll me after the so-called situation. He was like, what happened with what happened with Jin? I was like, well, he faced another puncher who believes in himself,
mm-hmm.
believes in his skill, owns his championship, was in excellent shape, didn't need a lot of time to get acclimated, so all he was doing was just sharpening up. So everything that was right, the B Norm storm, as they would say it, was the perfect storm. You feel what I'm saying? So Jin thought, you know, what's the name? I'm not blaming him, but he never disclosed a bit of information, and I'm talking about True School Boxing. He had a private interview with the trainers of Jin, and he was trying to pre-warn them about, you know, Brian Norman's power, and saying, listen, Jin needs to work on defense. He didn't work on that defense. He got slept. Congrats to Brian Norman Jr. The 147-pound division is in my opinion yours to own. Now, if you keep up with this same level of consistency, we'll be looking at situations to whereas at 47, we will be looking at the Brian Norman era. Mm-hmm. You feel what I'm saying? Charismatic guy, believes in his talent, is knocking people out like, you know, like Mike Tyson and Tank Davis. The last time we seen, you know, a small frame guy generate that type of power. Those are my two most previous recollections of that type of shit. So I give Brian Norman Jr. his props. Now, concerning the whole Boots thing, you know, we've been trying to tell people what was going on with that. I never believed from day one that Brian Norman Jr. ducked him. You feel what I'm saying? What, for me, it's always been this. When I'm critical about Boots and some of the things he's doing with moving with Eddie Hearn's Boots, your boy Eddie over there got you looking sus right now. You might want to check him, or like you said, you know, be more aware of what's going on, because there was some other stuff where you said you didn't know about it, and, you know, because you never heard about it, you now gonna start to be on top of your game and things like that. So with that being said, this was kind of the second shot at that. And, you know, the way you moving and the way Eddie moving without telling you, I don't know if you got that type of control yet. So here's the thing, what Rachel just said about the verbiage in your contract.
Right.
That's what we asking right now. That verbiage in your contract has Eddie doing things behind your back that's got you looking a certain way, to whereas in the perception is reality age of boxing social media, these are plausible questions that people are asking. Do you have control over what's going on with your career, although you don't have some lengthy fight deal with Eddie Hearn? But do you have control with who you're going to fight, being there with Eddie Hearn? Because the move you just did right now tells me no. Because I think you really want that Brian Norman fight. I believe that, Boots. I believe that within my heart of hearts. You really want that Brian Norman smoke. You feel what I'm saying? But Eddie and them was like, look, we're going to try to do whatever, but I don't know if, I don't think Eddie believes that you can take Brian Norman's power. And looking at this new Brian Norman, I don't know. It would be a hell of a fight to see.
I mean, the thing, this what gets me. For one, like I know Boots from what he been saying in his interviews. He say he a Christian dude, you know, he a Christian dude, and you know, Bozy, he seemed like an upstanding guy. Like, you know, we got a band of brothers, like they do things the right way. He a gym rat. He's the guy, like, from what I understand, I've never heard him getting in no trouble. He's like, Boots is almost like the standard, you know what I'm saying, for how we want these athletes to be. Like he might be a little introverted or a little shy, but you do things the right way, and you shouldn't want things done to other people that you don't want done to you. So the minute you come into the knowledge of knowing, there's one thing when it's ignorance. Like if you know, oh man, I can't do that. Once you become aware that you can't do that, now it's your responsibility. So why are they still out here talking, saying, oh, all he doing, because they re-airing old clips talking about how the Normans are just attaching themselves to Boots, but then they're doing videos about how he was easy work and how he had to take a knee in sparring and all this other stuff. But it's like, okay, so if he easy work and you ain't got to deal with no rehydration, it's not like you've been on a year layoff. You've been active.
Yeah.
You've been doing your thing. So it'll just be you making the weight, right? And then you don't have to worry about no rehydration because it's a unification once again, and you don't have to worry about that. So it seemed kind of odd, man. Especially with you being all in shape and you being athletic and you really wanted this. You sold us on the fact that you wanted undisputed.
Yeah. And
you told us on that. We gave you grace because of that. We was like, okay, well, maybe he moving like that, you know. And then with the money thing, you volunteered the information talking about I took less and I gave more. And I'm like, well, that what you just did when he did that, this is what he did. This is who he exposed when he did that. Let me pull it up. He exposed this guy when he did that, because this is one of my favorite talking points. This is one of my favorite talking points right here. Which one I want to use? This one. If money ain't a thing like Jermaine Dupri, go holler at, Uncle Sheik. Uncle Sheik got a bag. He got a turkey bag. He got ambassadors all over the place. He's sprinkling something on it. Ring card boys. You know what I'm saying? Galore. He buying out Times Square. He got the money. And then you voluntarily said you took less. Why did Boots take less? That was a PR nightmare, in my opinion. Why would you get out there and say you had to take less? So what is Eddie doing? If you selling out in your own home arena, you took less. You gave Stan Giannis more, and you went up to, cause we was in New Jersey when we do it. We didn't go see the Philly joint. We was in New Jersey, so you gave him more. And then Brian Norman and them dropped he dropped some gems too, because he said while they clowning us for the $100 grand, he was like, Stan Giannis made less than us before that. So it's just like you open your mouth and you literally stuck your boot in it by saying these things. And some of us, we not just going, you can't just do us like Bob Arum said, like other boxing fans, where you just toss us around like rocks and we just land and stay right wherever you want. No, we got critical thinking skills. We were the same ones saying, hey, Shakur, I don't know, man. You going for, don't they say a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't do in spades. Like, if you ever my partner, I don't do possibles. I'm going to say, I got you 4. How many you got? You say 2 in the possible. I'm going to say, I'm counting you for 2 then. We going 6. That's it. We don't do possibles. So, to me, it's like, why go ahead and keep slandering Brian Norman and all that? If you're moving on and you're moving up, then cool. But let's not say, like, because it don't look right. It don't look right. Then if you go up here and fight this dude, Tellus, if you fight Tez and you don't go up and get Bachram while you got the belt, like, that defeats the whole thing. While we just got on Shakur about missing weight when he moved up against the Conceição because he lost his leverage. If he would have still had his leverage, all that back and forth with Devin and all that shit, he could have just stepped and moved and then have been clean. With Keyshawn doing what he did, when he moved up, he just lost his leverage. So why would you have that leverage, drop that leverage, and go up and you ain't gonna fight? You gonna fight a Tellus? Like, you just raised way more questions than some of us. Yeah, we love Philly, But
see, that's
we
why-
ain't we not just gonna be, you know what I'm saying, out here getting our eagle on for you.
But that's what leads me back to that verbiage in your contract, because for you not to demand that Brian Norman fight after you said, Senior was right. He quoted you. What did that man say leading up to the fight and after the fight? Best conditioning he ever felt. Making weight wasn't a problem. He said it was easier than making weight when he fought Karan. You know what I'm saying? I feel more powerful. I feel this. My nutrition. You told us all of these things, and then all of a sudden, you know, a theoretical physicist done found out that, you know, there's some sort of inverted black hole that you can't make weight no more. Like, bruh, this ain't the heliosphere we talking about, man. This is just fucking boxing. The fuck do y'all mean? And now this is the opponent you telling us you going after. It's not a title shot.
And AC, check this out. This is where you catch anybody up in this problem, this math problem right here. You say, let's just run with for a second. Let's be like some of these dumbass echo chambers. Let's be like the followers of this dude who sit in his basement and just regurgitate the same shit, being a parrot for everybody else. Let's just run with it and say that you sent Boots and them an offer and they said no. Well, Virgil sent you an offer and you said no. So if you sent Charles Conwell one that was felonious, that we know, and you sent Brian Norman one and it was felonious, right? And they were ducks. Why was there someone's pushback when they said Virgil sent you one and you said, nah, I want to get undisputed, so you didn't do that? And you not a duck. That's what I said. You can't have it both ways, man.
I called that out back then, and people was like, what are you talking about? How can Boots be a duck? He said he won undisputed at 47. Why would he go to 54? Why are you rushing Boots?
They started saying I was rushing Boots. I was like, I'm not rushing Boots.
Yeah, it's like, bro, nobody rushing him this way. I'm saying he just said in his last fight, maybe he should go to 54. You know what I'm saying? And now Virgil says, sends him an offer. Then it's no. We staying at 47. Right? What's the problem? What's the problem in asking that question?
And then they come out, and this is what I understand. They do the interview with Boots, because I was about to do. It's crazy because I know they be listening, because I said, damn, there's been a Boots sighting. I said, that's probably what I'm about to do, but I said, I'm going to do this Richardson Hitchens because there's more meat on the bone for it right now. And then, goddamn, the next day it was an interview with Boots, and they ain't asked him nothing about the Norman and all that. And then Buddy go live later on, and he say, oh yeah, he moving up. It's over. It's a done deal because these were the Thundercats up there. You know what I'm saying? These were the Thundercats. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So we finally get what I was calling for. I've been calling for this shit so long ago because I did the Sylvester Stallone shit with the Apollo Creed and Sylvester Stallone. I said, that's you got the big Russian. I don't care how much I would break him. You know what I'm saying? You got Boots being, you know what I'm saying? I said, I been did it. I should pull that thumbnail up, but I been did it. I thought we was gonna get one of these, but guess what his man say? His man said, "Oh man, Bacron, man, he either gonna fight his mandatory or he gonna fight Lubin." And then they said, and Fundora, he tied up with Zoo, and Virgil, he busy right now. I was like, okay, so you moving up? That's what make the move up this week, right before the verdict of this Jin Sasaki fight. So suspect is because you're moving up for what? And then we finding out that it might be tellers. They gonna cook the shit out of you if you announce that fight. Who calling for that fight?
Yep.
You got the legacy, you got the juice. And this is why I just said I just cooked the shit out of Eddie for this just yesterday, I believe, when I said he's terrible when his guys had the momentum, the next move they make, because Conor Ben got the momentum off of the Eubanks fight. We don't know what the fuck he doing. Right? Richardson Hitchens, he got the momentum and he was treated like an afterthought, and they were treating Devin and whoever else and Tio and all them better than Richardson Hitchens, and he just got the juice with the best performance. We don't know what the fuck he doing. We didn't know what Boots was doing until he came out and said he moving up, and now we're gonna get a yo Ennis tell us. Like, wow, we got two Karan Chukasians, an Albanesian, and Stan Giannis. But we couldn't get a Blair Cobb. Eddie said he had to fight Karen before he can get the Boots. We couldn't get a Speedy Rashidi because Speedy Rashidi didn't get past Romain Villa. Oh, we got a Romain Villa. But all these guys are Boots. According to Boots' words, he said these guys were tailor-made. Well, I don't want nothing tailor-made. That's why I was against the T.O. Fimo fight. I said, nope, that's another 40 moving up. T.O. ain't had the same power since he was at 35. Yeah, I know he daring to be great, but I don't want another layup for Boots. I'm ready to see the Ferraris up against the Lamborghinis. And now we about to get a, what is Tejas? Is he a Porsche?
I don't know. I mean, he all right. I haven't really seen much of him. I think the only fight I saw was that when he was on the undercard, and I'm like, yeah, all right, you all right, but up against Boots, I don't see him winning.
Oh, but yeah, I mean, I like Taylor's though. I ain't gonna lie, I like Taylor's, yeah. But it's not, once again, we back at, okay, what is that gonna tell us about Boots? Like, he's so great, and he's the second coming of Roy Jones. The question is, you know how they say, what would Jesus do? What would Roy do? If this is the second coming of Roy, how would Roy be moving? Roy would have spanked. Roy would be trying to spank the shit out of Brian Norman. Roy would have probably had a order of T.O. with a side of a Brian Norman, and then toss me some Devin on top. And then I'm going to go up there, I'm going to smack Bakram around. Like, that what Roy would do, right?
Uh-huh.
So what would Roy do if you the second coming of Roy and you the best thing? Like, that's why I say, man, it's going to make me sound like I'm a hater, but I'm a fan. I'm just holding it like, these are all the things, like, people ask, when they talk about Tank, and I be out here trying to, defend it and all that, I get hit with all kind of shit with these same theory, like, from all angles with this shit. So I put them all on the scale and ask the same questions. And yeah. I don't never get no real answers. All I get told is, oh man, you an aerosexual. It's like, well, Arrow ain't fighting right now, bruv. We talking about Boots. Oh man, you a tanker maniac. Well, we not tankers at 135. We talking about Boots. Oh man, well, you think Mason, you think Abdullah. We not talking about Abdullah Mason. We talking about the 147 division and the 154 division, in which 140 is my division, and I love 154, but Mel ain't fighting right now, so it ain't much content. I normally be doing content on Mel, but he ain't been fighting. Yeah. We talking about Boots. They can't do it.
It's like, at the end of the day, man, we got a lot of love for Boots' talent, skill. Although I have questions. You feel what I'm saying? But I don't shit on him when he wins. I don't try to say, anything crazy, whatever. I want to see him succeed, but I would like to see you at this point take more control of your career, so you don't let Eddie use you as a pawn. Because at the end of the day, you're an American fighter, and you got to ask yourself at some point, what's the best thing Eddie has ever done for an American fighter?
Nothing. Probably build Devin up. He built Devin up, and then Devin left him for the Undisputed. But that's probably building Devin up. He got Devin. He built Devin up. I would say he kind of built Devin into the star that he is, or if you want to call him a star. Like, he gave him the cachet that he needed with his moves.
What's going on, buddy?
Salute, Bills.
What's going on, Chef Curry? Welcome to Bodywork, where they handing out body bags. Hey, I seen the text this morning. I said, I went to sleep. Oh, I said body bag, but I didn't know he was gonna be laying like he was in the body bag. Golly.
Yeah, you didn't see that big ass error he did? You throw a low stab jab, and you back with your head straight up and back straight up.
Bro, that was
looked
like,
at this nigga like, are you serious? Boop.
yeah, that was video game like.
Yeah, bro.
But you know, to y'all point, man, the Boots fans are coming up with every excuse in the book now. They still talking about old money. They ain't talking about now money. They want to talk about old shit that happened that's false. I'm like, well, what about now? He just called this man out, and that line was cold. It was cold-blooded. His daddy had to catch himself. He said, oh, he had me excited. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Yep.
he said, grab your boot. When beating on the storm coming, you grab your boots and run.
Yeah, that was
what
hard.
you supposed to do with that? Like, you can't say he ain't talking about you. You ain't responding. You got 24 hours. You better respond. I mean, man, we know Eddie Hearn and like I say about these promoters, I kind of stopped blaming on these fighters, man. These promoters do what they want to do. It's money when they need the money. It ain't no money when they don't really want to make the fight. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They could have been made any kind of fight. You got the sheet in your motherfucking pocket, like you say. You can make any fight you want to make if you talk to the sheet and be like, I really believe in this fight. And there's a lot of big cards coming up to put them on the undercard to make sure money in the bank. Come on, man. Quit playing, man.
But Bills, this is why I always go back to this. This is why I always ask this. Like, okay, everybody be in love with what Sheik doing, but as far as American boxing, in our selfish fandom way, since we are Americans and we love boxing, what is he doing for American boxing? And he falls flat on his face every time.
Right. But and the thing is, the promoters are in line with that shit, though.
And look, this is the thing, man. I hate this talking point. The dude that be in the basement doing content, this nigga always talking about Brian Norman's biggest payday. I'm like, are you getting paid? Like, why do you give a fuck? They bet on themselves. Like, you be wanting fighters to bet on themselves. They like, all right, cool. Okay, I might be risking something, but we just debunked that shit. But still, this is just their talking point that they're going to go on for another 6 months talking about. I'm like, you can't be that creative because why you give a fuck about what they getting paid?
I just heard that today. I mean, he ain't taking his biggest payday. Why are you worried about the payday, bro? These fighters supposed to be making more than that. Why are we even talking about 1 or 2 million? Like, this for a belt. Why I go to this promoter and say I want to be undisputed, and you ain't gonna give this fighter a couple more $100,000 just so I can accomplish what I came to you for? Come on, man. They don't look at it like that. They just want to say, oh, well, you only made 100,000 and they was paying you this. I don't give a fuck what I was getting paid. I got a belt now. Don't worry about what I was getting paid. Price of the brick went up.
Yeah, police raids make the price of the brick go up. They ain't raid me, they raid that nigga. So it is what it is. But at the end of the day, man, it's for me, when I look at this entire situation and then looking at the aftermath of it, it just says, y'all can't talk to me about this code shit no more.
Right.
Miss me with all of it.
Right.
Because you still want to put in everybody's head, yes, he went over there, could possibly get knockout of the year. You feel what I'm saying? Had a great performance, showed out, and y'all still want to say somehow he ducked Boots. I'm like, bro, why are you trying to use an old ass talking point that we way past, that's been debunked? Because
he under protective custody, man.
Yeah, but it doesn't. At the end of the day, if you got to put your fighter in protective custody and you feel you have to do that, then I have to question: is your fighter who I think he is? If you're gonna keep doing that bullshit to me, because I'm gonna keep asking. Listen, if your man is who he is, he don't need you as his fucking cheerleader.
Well, the problem is a lot of these fight fans don't want to be wrong. Like, they just got to be right. I don't give a damn. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. I might not feel like I'm wrong, but if I'm wrong, you not put the shit on film and showed me I know I'm wrong, and my opinion just gonna be my opinion. But we know I'm wrong. It's been decided that I'm wrong. I ain't gonna keep saying the same shit. I know I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't mind being wrong about Shakur or about anybody. Like, I argue all day, but I tell you what I think about it. I ain't gonna be like, oh, this the reality of it. This dude a duck. I think these promoters make these fighters look like ducks, and they don't stand up for themselves.
Yeah, definitely. Because again, Rachel said it, and every time it happens, I'm gonna keep quoting Rachel. The verbiage in your contract, bro. You niggas got shaky ass contracts. So for me, that's where it ends for me. You know, I'm just like, bro, y'all got to get y'all contracts together, take control of your career, you know, be the fighter, be the entertainer.
But my thing,
but be
my
genuine.
My thing with that AC is these dudes be free agents. Y'all got all this time on y'all hand. Why y'all free agents? To overlook all the shit that's in these contracts. It ain't like you being rushed to go to this promotion. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got time. It ain't like, you know what I'm saying, this the NFL and the season about to start. No, you got time. They be having a whole bunch of time on their hand. They want to go on vacation, do a couple interviews, say, I'm ready to beat the world, you know what I'm saying, and shine and show all your Balenciaga water boots you motherfucking rocking that look like ass, but when you know you want to show all the shit you done bought, you know what I'm saying, but you ain't really like sticking to your paperwork. Like, what is y'all doing with y'all time? Like, y'all got all this time as free agents. Y'all can have somebody looking over
on
this
social
shit.
media talking shit about everybody else. But I just want to know that based off that performance, who gets in the ring with Brian Norman next?
Well, he gonna have to have like a Bud Madrimal performance. I think that's the performance that got Bud the Canelo fight, and I think it was strategic because Bud didn't turn it up to like the 8th, 9th round to like, hold on, let me go ahead and secure this win.
So if he smokes, let's say if he sleeps a Quran, just sleeps him.
But let me say this. Let me put my bid in, because this is my goal. My goal is to get this shit back up to get this shit back up to temperature, man. Because listen, this is my campaign for this. This is my campaign for this. They always say, dare to be great. Now, in one breath, you had Jermell Charlo go from 154 up to go see Canelo. He failed. You got Boots getting ready to do the same thing. I mean, you got Bud getting ready to do the same thing. We're not okay. You're in the case of the guy on the right, you're daring to be great. It's to say that right now, all you gotta do is make 147 like you just did a couple months ago. You don't have to worry about no rehydration, and unify another belt before you go. Why is that so hard? Like, as fans, as cash paying, content creating fans, why is that such a tall task to ask? Like, you're daring to be great is this, like, stay right here where you at right now, because this is the belt is right there. These people are saying, call his bluff. If after all this time you be like, you know what? Yeah, we did that shit. We said we was moving up, but we got your ass now. Come on, bring Norm the Storm. Bring the Storm on. I got my poncho. I got everything I need. Bring that shit. Come on to Philly. What you want? Let's sit down at the table. Don't negotiate in public. What's so hard about that?
See, that's that military stuff in you, bro. You cold-hearted. Because you just taking the Infinity Stone, and you saying, "Hey, yo, Thanos, you forgot this one," and you put it right there on the table, and you say, "I dare you to pick it up."
Reach, and I'ma teach.
Reach. You feel what I'm saying? Reach for it. And Thanos is like, I ain't really interested in doing the snap thing anymore. I'm kind of past the snap thing because my scientist and my wizard over there said doing the snap thing right now ain't that good for me, so I'm gonna just move on. I don't know what I'm gonna do. So,
but look, as far as the money, right? As far as the money
fight, that's the money
but
fight.
Look, yeah, and it's equity built up in it now. So like the asking price can be the asking price. Both parties should be able to get what they want. And then if it's pay-per-view or if it's, I'm thinking people will pay for it.
Bro, we gonna put it out there like this. Hey, Turk, I know sometimes you be visiting some of these lower number websites and stuff like that. Here's my thing, Turk. If you're not stepping in within the next 72 hours of saying, listen, I want to make the Boots and Brian Norman fight, and I'm willing to pay Boots, give him $15 million. Give Boots $15 million, give B Norm 3 to 5. 4 point something, 3 point something. I bet you that fighter, we'll see the makeup of you, Eddie, and Team Ennis.
Look,
I'm hoping to see that within the next 8. You know what, Turk? We're gonna extend it until this time next week, Friday.
All right, AC. Look, see. I'm gonna cut Sheik. This mic, man. This mic. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna cut that in half, Sheik. I'm gonna say, listen, put a cool 8 on the table. You know what I'm saying? Give my man B Norm 3 straight up, and give my man Boots 5. You got lightning in a bottle. Let's get it. You turkey bag. You want to make America. You care about the sport. You want to see the big fights. Do something for American boxing. Us selfish American boxers, fans. Sheik, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna kiss the ring or do no ting like that, But
see,
you know what I'm saying? 8, a cool straight 8. Like no, ain't nobody gotta do nothing. All you gotta do is put it in there. It's at 147. Ain't gonna be no rehydration. The belts is on the line. That's 4 belts. That's the ring, the IBF, the WBA, and the WBO. And then after Pacquiao and whatever, you can get that. Say you can clean that up too once Barrios and Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? But like, there's a cool 8, 3 and 5.
Hey, listen, Chief. Go with those numbers. And here's the thing: the card is already built in. Put them on the card with Bud and Canelo.
And if you want, you can say on the back end the winner get 2.
Okay,
you can sweeten the pot with a winner to make it 10 if you want. If you just want to sweeten the deal.
September. That's 3 months out. B Norm took no damage in Tokyo. Maybe just had like a little abrasion, but took no damage other than that. He can make that 3-month turnaround, and I'm quite sure he would happily make that 3-month turnaround. Because he already said in the interview after that, he can't wait to get home to go right back into the gym. So B Norm is with it. It's with your boy now. It's with your boy, Eddie them, and Jaron them. They want to go in there, but they want not to. Bomba clot. For real, bro. I'm like, yo, listen, that fight can be made, bro.
We can find out who's the original rude boy.
Exactly. We can find that shit out ASAP. Right now. If you putting that offer out there right now, and then Boots could go to 54.
Then Boots can go on to 54. Well, yeah, he could go on to 54. He could, but I'm saying, man, before we get a Tejas, you know what I'm saying? Like, who on paper it looked like Boots gonna run through him, even though I like Tez. He with Ronnie Shields, I think. And
Hey,
you know, I mean, what would Roy do? That's what I'm asking to the Boots fans and to Boots in his camp or whatever. Fuck all that messy shit or whatever. I'm a fan. What would Roy do since you the second coming of Roy? And for the norms, if they come at you like a storm with that money, you know what I'm saying, with that manyan on the table and say, listen, man, we was jiving you, man. You know what I'm saying? But listen, since we got you here now, you know, let's get it. If they say anything but where do I sign? You know what I'm saying? And that bag is right, you know, then we already know you called they bluff. But
yeah.
I'm asking both of them to dare to be great, because I know Norman can build, and he's a star in the making. You know, he can build and get up there with the paydays and have his belts, but we can get that because they both said in essence by Eddie and then with Norman Sr. that, hey, right out, even Junior said, listen, soon they raised my hand. He said, that's happening on the 19th. That's Juneteenth. So we got about an hour and 3 minutes before the clock strike midnight and we go over into the 20th. Y'all can make a deal happen. You know, ain't nothing etched in stone. I already seen an article. They kind of gaslit me with the article and it said that he vacated. I'm like, hold on. So I had to read the article and it's like, he looks to vacate, but ain't nothing happened yet unless Eddie, this is my word to you. Unless you already made a motherfucking deal and you playing the fans once again, where that Terry shit is already etched in stone. I don't know, man, but we need, you know, like they say over there in that Philly channel, we need answers.
Yeah. And listen, Eddie, this is your money fight for Jerron Boots. You feel what I'm saying? This is his money fight. This is the fight that's been being built up over the last 2 years. You know, everybody knew, you know, to a certain degree that we were talking that, okay, we're looking at all of these elevated champs since Bud vacated, dropped all of those belts at 47. And we saw Brian Norman get elevated and we saw the other champs get elevated. We were already matchmaking these guys so they can prove, all right, all you guys were elevated. So let's now y'all should mix it up to say, yeah, that wasn't our fault, which it wasn't, but you know, we trying to scrap and prove ourselves right now. At 47, that's your money fight. At 54, outside of maybe a Virgil, I don't know what else is going to bring you to built-in people wanting to see the fight and everything else. After this, the energy is already there. You know what I'm saying? Boots coming off the Stanley stoppage and looking like a monster in there, and him going over to Japan. And Brian Norman going over to Japan and looking like a monster over there. So at the end of the day, it is what it is, man. Clash of the Titans. Let's go. These are these young Titans at 47. You know, Boots is a little bit older, but he's still at the speed that he's moving now. Now that he's branching out on his own and you know, he's not trying to attach his name to Terrence Crawford. If you daring to do everything you daring to do, then get that Brian Norman smoke. If you that much better than him and you're just going to expose him, then let it happen. If you said he was easy and he wasn't anything, that's the part that locks me in. When a fighter says somebody is easy but you refuse to fight him, that tells me something about you, not them. So for Boots, demand this fight. Like, no, nothing is happening at 54 until I get this Brian Norman Jr. fight at 47. And he ain't got shit going on right now. I ain't got shit going on right now. We can do this. Because no one right now is talking about his so-called mandatory. That shit is powder being blown off the table and shit like that in the wind. So that's just gone. So at the end of the day, people are demanding this Boots versus Brian Norman Jr. It makes all the sense in the world. You're not chasing nobody that's not in your class. He's in your class. He's in your group. Roy, if you dying to be like Roy just said that. It makes no sense. I don't want to see the Crawford versus Boots because they're in two different classes. Chase legacy in your group, in your class, and Brian Norman is a legacy fight in your group and in your class. You may not try to see it that way, but that's just the reality, bro.
Yeah, so I think we put enough into this, man. We laid down the stake, man. We gave our thoughts. You know, we outlined things that we've been saying all along. And you know, it's wild, man. When you got young guys, you got fresh water out here. They want to do the right thing. They on the right path. They giving hope to the sport of boxing. And as fans, we still can't get what we want, man. We just making one final petition to say, hey, man, the clock ain't strike yet, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't gotta jump in that pumpkin, you know, and get back, you know, home just yet. You know, it's a slipper out there, you know.
They're still fit, bro.
It's still fit. It's still good. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Are still on your feet, bro.
But yeah, appreciate you coming through, man. How you landed your plan, or you got something what you want to leave out with,
that
bro?
That was it, bro. That was it, man. I'm staying 10 toes down on it. Boots, you said this man is easy. Just like this is the one contention I'll never let go with Shakur. You said that guy was easy. Then you took those whole negotiations to the joint. So Boots, you said he easy. Go beat his easy ass. That's all I'm asking.
I appreciate you, AC, man. Classic cook as always, man. You chefed it up. Salute the Bills too for jumping up here, man. All right, man. Enjoy your evening. Well, yeah, man. It's global warning, man. It's a star in the making, man. I think the A got them one, man. Like Lil Baby say, we global. You know what I'm saying? And that was global warming. You know, he went over there and had him a shot of gin. And now he's looking like one of the most dangerous men in boxing. I say that he put the ammo back in the glamour division. You know what I'm saying? So I look for big things from being on, man. Run your race. You know, if you have to, take your time. Don't let them dudes trick you off your square, quiet the noise. You got a good pops. He fought so he could talk his shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't classify these guys as one of these boxing dads and sons do. I still put them over there with the Bozy and the Boots. I put him over there with the Masons. I think Senior he's a little vocal, but he got a right to. And you know what I'm saying? He be talking this shit the right way. It is when you qualify it instead of being an echo chamber or a fucking parrot. Then you'll realize that the man be speaking truth. He just passing it. Just like everybody else, when we get excited as black folk, we get it when we get happy or we get excited, we get loud, we get boisterous. He from the South, and the South got something to say. Anyways, man, if you like the content, man, hit the like button, man. Subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed to the channel. Donate to the channel. We be putting in work, man. A lot of our stuff get plagiarized. A lot of our stuff get borrowed. Our talking points be, you know, done in interviews. Donate to the channel. My cash at work, my super chat work. You know what I'm saying? I think we deserve it at times, you know, just to say, hey, man, we appreciate that was entertaining or that was informative or I really like your take on that. Because remember, I'm an alternative to what everybody else is saying. You know, I try to put things in your rucksack that you can take with you and march on with. This is fruits and veggies, not that Reggie. This is fact-based content, not opinion-based, even though we have ours. You know, silence is consent. We speak to the things that we don't like. We speak to the things that just ain't right. And the way Richardson Hitchens, Brian Norman, Abdullah Mason, when they doing all the right things, why are they getting shitted on? Are we name whores or not? Do we want to see the big fights or not? Or do you want to just inundate your audience with the same stale-ass, dumb-ass, debased talking points. Because we shouldn't be caring about their bags unless we're trying to help them get more money in the process of us getting the big fights. You know, we in the era now with the truth, man. If you tell somebody the truth, they say you hating. We speak the truth over here, baby. I appreciate everybody who stopped through. I even seen Southpaw in here, which is wild. Oh, you trying to say it's staged? I wouldn't be surprised somebody trying to paint that narrative. I'm just saying, damn, man, like we're some name hoes, man. We're some name hoes, because this the same shit. Just like it was disgusting when Fundora stopped Lubin because Kevin Cunningham saw his face when he came back to that corner. They came out talking, oh man, what Fundora having his gloves. When Tim Tszyu got sparked by Bakram, they came on a boxing voice and damn near asked that man, was he cheating? It's just that when whoever we want to win, when they don't win, or when it's a guy that you can't ride his coattails, or it's not popular to be behind, y'all come up with this bullshit. And I ain't with it, man. I'm not with it, man. I'm not with it, man. We gotta stop being so name brand. That's not gonna grow the sport. Just because you want to be affiliated with the in crowd. I guess in high school you was part of the in crowd, or you wanted to be. You know what I'm saying? I just did my own thing. Even though I was a jock, I still was by myself. I played football, I was by myself. I didn't give a fuck about no in crowd. My high school best friend was most popular in high school. Everywhere we went, we were together. If somebody could come up there and speak to him, all these superficial people would come up to speak to him, and I would just look at him up and down. If I fucked with you, I'll speak. If I didn't say shit. And I'm not gonna change. I'm not gonna be out here clout chasing just because you popular. All these boxers are popular and they got a name and you want to be affiliated with the whole narrative. I'm not with it. Give some of these young guys their just due. Just because they not name brand all the time, or they not waving the popular flags and all that. Give them time to grow. Give them a fair shot, but stop with the narratives, man. Anyways, y'all, thanks for choosing Bodywork Boxing. Well, we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, what the fuck is this nigga, right? Oh, okay, you want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to Bodywork.